Hello everyone, welcome to Court with Krissy. This one is a Law Kitty with Linda request. Illegal seizure of cat. Sassy was saved, but it comes with a hefty fine. We hope you like it. Court with Krissy and Linda is meow in session.
Next matter is 26 CRV 689, State of Ohio versus Judy Kirk. Ms. Kirk has not appeared for today's hearing. Ms. Diatley's here on her behalf, and Mr. Savage is here on behalf of the Law Director's Office. We're scheduled for a probable cause hearing on seizing a cat from Ms. Kirk. Ms. Diatley, did Ms. Kirk wish to contest that today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Savage. You have a witness to present?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
All right. State Coast Madison Rains, Humane Agent Madison Rains.
You may proceed.
All right. Thank you, Agent Rains. Can you tell me who you're employed with?
The Lincoln County Humane Society.
And how long have you worked for that
About
organization?
3.5 years.
Okay. And what are your duties as a humane agent?
Investigate animal cruelty and neglect, do welfare checks on animals, make sure that they're being cared for as it says under the law.
Okay. And are you familiar with a person by the name of Judy Kirk?
Yes.
And how did you first become familiar with Ms. Kirk?
We had received a call that Ms. Kirk had not been present at her trailer for several days and that there was a cat inside.
Okay. Who did you receive that call from?
It was her neighbor. I can't remember her name, but it was in the trailer directly next to her.
Directly next to Ms. Kirk's trailer?
Yes.
Would it refresh your memory if you reviewed your report of the name of the caller?
Yes. Deborah Rader.
All right. Once more, what was the name of the caller?
Deborah Rader.
Okay. And so, did Miss Rader indicate that the cat was alone in the trailer?
Yes.
And did she indicate a time frame of how long the cat had been in the trailer?
She had stated it had been like a couple weeks, I believe, and that she hadn't seen anybody present at the house, or at the trailer, sorry.
Okay. And did you conduct a follow-up investigation on that?
Yes, I did.
Did you go to the trailer?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And was that at 1700 Hebron Road, Heath, Ohio, Lot 21?
Yes.
And what did you find when you got there?
The cat was in the window. There were plastic covering the windows, and the window that the cat had been in was significantly torn up, and that there was nobody present at the trailer, wasn't able to make contact with anybody that was there. There was a window that was open on the front porch, excuse me, and when the cat came up to that window, the cat seemed lethargic. She was trying to meow at me, but her meows were silent.
So did the cat appear to be unwell?
Yes, she appeared lethargic, and due to her meows being silent, it seemed that she was possibly in distress from lack of water.
Okay. Did you talk to anyone else about the condition of the trailer, or to your knowledge, did the trailer have functioning power or water?
To my knowledge, no. I believe the new owner of the trailer, he owned the land that the trailer was on. I believe he stated that there was no electricity or anything that was running in the property.
Okay. When you saw the cat, did it appear like it was trying to get out of the trailer?
Yes.
And based on your experience, is it a criminal offense to confine a cat in a trailer without access to wholesome food or water for 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. In your opinion, well, after that, did you seize the cat?
Yes, I did.
How was that completed?
The front window that was open, there was just a screen that was like duct taped onto to secure it onto the house. That screen was just lifted up and the cat came right out.
The cat came out on its own?
Yes.
Okay. And in your opinion, what would have happened to the cat if you hadn't seized it?
It probably would have passed away from dehydration and lack of food, or possibly heat, since there was no electricity and it was hot out.
Was a medical exam done of the cat afterwards?
Yes.
And what were the findings of that?
The cat was dehydrated, I believe, but she also had extensive like dental issues. She had urinary stones that would have caused her to pass away had those not been discovered, and she had to have emergency surgery.
Was that examination and seizure, did that take place on May 26th of 2026?
Yes.
And did you provide Judy Kirk with written notice that you would seize the animal?
Yes.
How did you provide that?
We have a notice that has a carbon copy that I fill out, and I put the carbon copy on the front door of the trailer, and then I kept a copy myself.
Okay. And what is the cat's name?
In our care, it's Sassy. I don't believe she told us the name of the cat.
Okay. What is the coloring of the cat?
She's calico, so orange, black, and white.
And about how old is she?
I believe she's about 10.
Were there any other factors that went into your decision to remove the cat?
Other than it was a very hot day and knowing that there was no electricity or anything like that, and the cat being elderly, that she could have also been in heat distress and passed away from that as well.
Okay. Do you have any training in, I guess, some amount of experience in veterinary care specific to cats?
I know the basics.
Okay. I guess my only question is, you had indicated that the cat had, was it bladder stones?
Yes.
To your knowledge, and just tell me if you don't know, can that be?
I'm going to object. If she knows the basics, then we're talking about advanced medical care at that point, and the vet's not here to testify.
Mr. Savage.
The only question I was intending to ask was if bladder stones can be caused by a lack of access to water.
She can answer if she knows.
I am unsure of that. I'm
Okay.
not sure.
Nothing.
Ms. Dialli.
So you have, you said you worked with the Humane Society for 3 years,
Yes.
and you received a call from the neighbor, is that correct?
Yes.
And when the neighbor called, she had said that she hadn't seen anybody there for 2 weeks,
Yes.
and that Mrs. Kirk had a criminal history.
Yes.
And upon review, I apologize. Did Miss Rader mention that she's the one who had called the police and was a witness in one of the cases against Mrs. Kirk?
She had mentioned that she was a witness in a case with Mrs. Kirk. I don't believe that. She said that she was the one that called the police.
Did she mention that her and Mrs. Kirk have had some interpersonal disputes?
Yes.
Are you familiar with what body score conditioning is?
Yes.
Can you explain what that is?
It's a score based on the weight and condition of the animal. So 1 being the animal would be extremely emaciated, and a 9 being that the animal would be extremely obese.
Okay. And can you describe how you determine what an animal's body condition score is?
So I actually don't determine that, only our vets do.
Okay. Are you familiar with how they do that?
Relatively, yes.
Okay. And do you know what the cat's body condition score was?
I believe it might have been a 6.
Would that indicate that the cat was at a healthy weight?
Slightly overweight. Ideal is about a 5.
So the cat was slightly overweight.
I believe so.
At any point, did you enter the home?
No.
Do you remember what time it was that you arrived at the trailer?
I don't remember specifically, maybe around noon.
And the one of the windows was open.
Yes.
And would the cat have been able to get out of that window?
No. There was a screen.
But the window that you saw the cat in, there was plastic over, and the cat had kind of scratched at that plastic.
Yes.
So if the cat would have scratched at the screen, it could have potentially gotten out of the screen.
Possibly.
Especially if that animal was in distress.
Yeah.
And you never entered the home to see if there was any food or water available?
Just what we could see through the window, and I did not see anything.
But you didn't have an entire view of the home?
I did not.
And your assessment of the cat's, or the age of the cat is roughly 10 years old? In your experience, would it be more common for older animals to have a lower body condition score just due to age and?
Not necessarily.
So, it was your understanding that the trailer is owned by Mrs. Kirk and she rents the lot, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And there are no utilities in the home?
No, not from what I was told.
And so, but that wouldn't prevent someone from bringing water and food to the animal, is that correct?
Yes. No, it would not prevent it.
So if a family member was coming over and taking care of the animal, and Mrs. Rader wasn't home, they could have brought food and water into that animal.
Yes.
And again, we're talking about a body condition score of 6.
I believe so, yes.
Is a cat fairly selectively social? I know that probably seems silly, but
Yeah.
could it have been that the animal was experiencing some separation anxiety if you go from having someone around all the time to not? Just kind of being excited to see other people, want to socially interact.
That's possible.
When you did make contact with Mrs. Kirk, she said she'd been in the hospital.
Yes.
Was she concerned about the animal's well-being?
At that time, yes.
Okay. Did she explain anything to you as far as she was preparing to move the animal to her mom's house?
Yes.
Did she say that her sister was going over to take care of the animal?
Yes.
Fair to assume that not everybody in Licking County has central air?
Yes.
So if Mrs. Kirk was home, it's warm in there. It's not necessarily a sign of abuse, maybe more of a sign of poverty.
Sure.
Nothing further.
Mr. Savage.
The body condition score range, does that just account for the weight of the cat?
Yes.
So would that have any bearing on whether or not a cat or any animal was dehydrated? Okay. And did you provide Sassy, the cat, with water after you'd seized it?
Yes.
What was the cat's response to that?
Objection, Your Honor, this is beyond the scope of what was in direct or cross.
Overruled.
She, to my knowledge, I don't believe she drank excessively. She was also a bit unfamiliar with where she was, so she was a bit shy.
Okay. Defense had asked about your subsequent conversation with Ms. Kirk. How much time went by between when you seized the cat and when you were able to get in contact with Ms. Kirk?
11 days.
Okay. Did Ms. Kirk call you, or did you call Ms. Kirk?
She came to the shelter in person.
Okay. Had you made attempts to get in contact with her before that?
Yes.
What were those attempts?
I was able to, I left a notice at her property for her to make contact with me. And I also attempted to contact her via the phone number that we had gotten from the Heath Police Department, what they had on record.
And once again, when you got to the trailer, when you're looking in the windows, could you see most of the trailer, some of the trailer? How much of the trailer, of the interior of the trailer, would you say you could see?
I could see pretty much the whole living room section. I couldn't see into other rooms, like a bathroom or a kitchen, but I could see the whole living room.
Okay. And once again, in that area, could you see any kind of containers with food or water for the cat? Okay. And the windows, you said one of them was covered in plastic.
Yes.
Was there a sheet of plastic and glass, or just plastic?
a sheet of plastic and glass. The plastic window was on the back side towards facing the neighbor's trailer that had called. The window that was open with the screen was on the opposite side next to the front door.
Okay. And so would there have been any way for the cat to get out of its own accord through the glass window with the plastic?
No.
Okay. And what about for the screen window?
It's possible if the cat really wanted to get out that it maybe could have. I have never seen a cat get out through a screen window before.
Okay. Nothing further.
Ms. Daly, anything further?
Nothing further.
May step down. Any other witnesses today?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Daly, you have any witnesses today?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Savage, you want to say anything in closing?
Your Honor, we would ask that the court find that the humane agent did have probable cause to seize the animal, primarily based on the fact that by all testimony given today, the animal had been left alone for approximately 14 days, and then after that it took the owner an additional 11 days to follow up on where the animal was. And so for that reason alone, it seems that the animal had to be seized for its own well-being. They kept the search here to a minimum, based on the information that was available to them at the time, and based on the subsequent examination of the animal, they were justified in seizing it as evidence of a crime, as well as for its own safety and well-being.
Ms. Daly?
Your Honor, I just ask you to consider the testimony here today. I mean, the allegation being that nobody had been at this trailer for 2 weeks. That's something that the neighbor stated. As this court's aware, they have they're not friendly neighbors. There's some resentment there. They've had their disagreements. Additionally, it's something that at any point her sister could have been coming into the home providing food and water. The idea that, I think if an animal wanted out bad enough, they absolutely could. My cat has been out on my roof before because he went through a screen door or a screen in the window chasing a bird. So I think if a window's open and the screen is there, there's nothing indicating that the animal had any kind of injuries and wasn't able to scratch at something. Additionally, a BCS score of 6 would indicate that the animal has been receiving nutrition. If an animal is left alone in a hot trailer for 2 weeks with no food, no water, the assumption would be that that animal would have lost a significant amount of weight. It's not evidenced here. Upon reintroductory of water, the testimony was that the cat wasn't excessively drinking. Ms. Kirk did make contact with the agency. She had not been back to her home. She'd been in the hospital. So this time I'm asking the court to find that there was not probable cause to seize the animal.
The court will find there's probable cause to seize the animal. Mr. Savage, you have an entry.
So this was the cost for 30 days after the removal. It's been greater than 30 days now. Typically, we increase it by another 30 days. So after 30 days is up, it would be an additional 30. And that she has a certain period of time to pay that bond. And if she doesn't, then the animal is relinquished to us.
Your Honor, I have a breakdown of the expenses.
Okay. Do you have a bond amount?
That times 2.
Yeah.
So that would be approximately $2,400.
Okay.
Do you need that copy? Can you just have
No, you're good.
Ms. Daly, anything else to bond?
I mean, I guess the only thing at this point is we're very much so out of normal order of operations. Seizure happened on 5/26. It's almost been 2 months.
Yeah.
Would it be 30 days from today to make that? I mean, I guess that's kind of
That's a
the-
good question, so, let's see.
just so that I can provide her with.
Yeah, I mean, the statute says beginning of the date the animal's impounded, so.
Agent Raines has said that typically they give 10 days and could do that from now, potentially longer. And I would also note that the reason this is happening now, as opposed to earlier, was because of the motion of the defendant to continue it repeatedly and to note that.
Yeah, she didn't appear in court, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, the statute says she has 30 days to
Yeah.
make that initial payment.
Yeah.
That's not my question. My question is just 30 days from today.
And the statute says
We
from the
just
day.
set bond, so.
Right, so you just set bond, and we're already outside of 30 days. Any objection to 30 days?
No, Your Honor.
I mean, the continuing, the expenses have already gone. The continuing care is probably not that much money. Is that correct, Ms. Raines?
Yeah, we
The
did-
expensive stuff is over, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a daily cost?
There is, yes.
What's the, is
It's,
that on
it's
the?
$25 a day.
Any objection from that being today, Mr. Savage?
Any problem with that? No, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you want to prepare me an order to that effect?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Diatley?
No,
Have you
Your
heard from
Honor.
your client today?
No, I just wanted to get this set because it's something that,
Were you not expecting her
has kind
to
of,
be here?
so she lives a very complicated life.
I'm familiar with Ms. Kirk.
Yeah. So, I mean, the only contact information I have for her currently is her mom's phone number.
Okay.
We've left messages on her mom's number. Have not heard back from her. I know her mom's in hospice. It's just kind of a mess all
Okay.
around.
So where's that for August 5, it looks like?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, anything else today?
No, no.
All right, thank you.